What if I told you that the faint, almost imperceptible whisper you sometimes hear in the dead of night isn't just the wind? What if it's a message, traveling for millennia across the cold, silent void of space, finally reaching its destination? For centuries, we've stared at the stars, a canvas of infinite possibilities, asking the same lonely question. Are we alone? We've sent our own messages, golden records and radio waves, like bottles cast into a cosmic ocean, desperately hoping for a reply. But have we ever truly stopped to consider what would happen if someone or something actually answered? The moment that signal arrives, the moment we confirm we are not the sole proprietors of intelligence in this universe, humanity's story will be forever cleaved in two. Before the discovery and after everything we think we know about ourselves, our purpose, our place in the grand cosmic ballet will be thrown into question. The greatest dream of science could instantly become our most terrifying nightmare. So, as we stand on this precipice of the unknown, we must ask ourselves the most critical question of all. Is the hand reaching out from the darkness offering salvation, or is it poised to extinguish our fragile flame? This isn't just a thought experiment. It's a future that could be unfolding right now, with every passing second. Imagine the scene. In a sterile, quiet room somewhere on Earth, a lone scientist stares at a screen, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. For years, she's been listening to the static symphony of the cosmos, a cascade of meaningless noise. But tonight, something is different. A pattern emerges from the chaos. A structured, intelligent sequence that cuts through the cosmic background radiation, like a lighthouse beam in a storm. It's not a pulsar, not a quasar, not any known celestial phenomenon. It's undeniably artificial. This is the moment history holds its breath. The first few seconds of confirmation would be a whirlwind of disbelief, frantic checks, and the cold, thrilling certainty of truth. The signal isn't a simple hello. It's a complex tapestry of mathematics, physics, and perhaps something we can't even comprehend yet. It's a key, but to what lock? The implications would ripple outwards from that small room, first to governments, then to the scientific community, and finally, inevitably, to the public. How do you announce to 7 billion people that everything they believed about their unique place in the universe is wrong? The weight of that message would be immense, capable of uniting humanity in awe or shattering it into a million fearful pieces. It's a Pandora's box received from the stars, and we have no idea what lies inside once we lift the lid. Do we even dare to open it? In the immediate aftermath, a wave of euphoria could wash over the planet. The confirmation of extraterrestrial intelligence would be the single greatest unifier in human history. Suddenly, our terrestrial squabbles, our borders, our political and religious divides would seem so profoundly petty, so laughably insignificant. We would no longer be just Americans, Russians, or Chinese. We would be Earthlings, representatives of a single, fragile world. This shared cosmic context could ignite a new renaissance, a golden age of cooperation and discovery. Imagine global resources being pooled not for weapons of war, but for a singular, grand purpose: understanding the message and preparing for a dialogue. The greatest minds from every nation would come together, sharing knowledge, breaking down barriers that have stood for centuries. Art, music, and literature would explode with new inspiration, grappling with our new identity. We might finally solve our own pressing problems: climate change, poverty, disease, driven by a newfound sense of collective responsibility. This contact could be the catalyst we so desperately need to evolve, to transcend our self-destructive tendencies and embrace a future as a united, spacefaring species. It would be a testament to our potential, a realization of our most optimistic dreams, a chance to finally become the best version of ourselves. But is this utopian vision just a beautiful, naive dream, masking a much darker potential reality? But what if the message contains more than just a greeting? What if it's an Encyclopedia Galactica, a treasure trove of advanced knowledge? Imagine receiving the secrets to faster-than-light travel, limitless clean energy, or the cure for all diseases. It sounds like a salvation, a shortcut to a perfect future. Yet, history has taught us a harsh lesson about humanity's relationship with powerful new technologies. We are brilliant innovators, but we are also masters of self-destruction. The discovery of nuclear fission gave us the potential for clean energy, but it also gave us the atomic bomb. The internet connected the world, but it also created new avenues for division, misinformation, and control. Would this advanced alien knowledge be any different? Who would control this new information? Which nations would get it first? The potential for an unprecedented arms race, a technological gap so vast it would make our current inequalities look trivial, is terrifyingly real. A single nation or corporation holding the key to FTL travel would hold the solar system, and perhaps the galaxy, hostage. The cure for aging could create an immortal elite, while the rest of humanity is left behind. This gift of knowledge could become a poisoned chalice, one that promises eternal life, but delivers only conflict and despair, fracturing our fragile unity before it even has a chance to solidify. Would we be wise enough to share this power, or would our greed once again lead us to the brink of annihilation? Perhaps the greatest danger isn't in what the message says, but in what it implies about the universe around us. We've long been haunted by the Fermi paradox, the baffling contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the utter lack of evidence for it. The universe is ancient and vast, with billions of potentially habitable planets. So where is everybody? The signal's arrival would solve one part of the paradox. We are not alone. But it might present us with a far more chilling answer to the second part. What if the reason the galaxy is so quiet is because advanced civilizations don't last long? This concept is known as the Great Filter. It's a hypothetical barrier, a challenge or danger so immense that very few, if any, civilizations can overcome it. The filter could be anything. Self-inflicted nuclear annihilation, an uncontrollable technological singularity, or perhaps a natural cosmic event we haven't even conceived of. What if this first contact is simply the last message from a civilization that has already hit that filter and perished? Their signal, a final desperate warning, shot across the cosmic graveyard. By receiving it, we learn that we are not alone. But we also learn that our ultimate fate might already be sealed, that we are approaching the same invisible wall that destroyed them. The silence of the cosmos would no longer be a mystery. It would be a tombstone, and we would be left wondering, are we the next to be silenced? But there's an even more terrifying explanation for the Great Silence, a theory known as the Dark Forest Hypothesis. It paints the universe not as an empty void, but as a dark, menacing forest filled with silent hunters. In this analogy, every civilization is a cautious hunter, hiding in the shadows, trying not to make a sound. Why? Because the moment you reveal your position, you expose yourself to other hunters who might see you as a threat. The fundamental law of this forest is survival. And the safest strategy is to eliminate any other life form before it can eliminate you. It's a grim, cosmic game of hide and seek, where the stakes are annihilation. In this scenario, sending messages out into space, like we've been doing with our radio broadcasts, is the most reckless and naive thing a young civilization could possibly do. It's like shouting, "I'm here," in a forest full of predators. The arrival of an alien signal, therefore, might not be a friendly greeting. It could be a trap. It could be the sound of a predator that has finally located its prey. Or worse, it could be the dying scream of another civilization. A warning to us that we have just been discovered by something far older, far more powerful, and utterly ruthless. We thought we were reaching for the stars. But what if we've just rung the dinner bell? Let's assume the best for a moment. The communication continues. A dialogue of decades is established. And then comes the ultimate announcement. They are coming. The journey will take years, maybe centuries, but it's happening. How would humanity react to the knowledge that visitors are on their way? The anticipation would be a global obsession, shaping every aspect of our culture, politics, and religion. New faiths would arise, worshiping the visitors as saviors, gods descending from the heavens to deliver us. Others would preach apocalypse, painting them as demons, invaders bent on our destruction. The scientific community would work feverishly to prepare, to build the infrastructure for a meeting that would redefine our species. But the fear would be palpable, a constant undercurrent of anxiety. We would be preparing to meet a civilization likely thousands, if not millions, of years more advanced than our own. The power imbalance would be absolute. We would be like ants preparing to meet a human. We cannot possibly comprehend their motives, their ethics, their technology. Their very presence could be unintentionally destructive. Would they see us as equals, as curious children, or as insignificant bacteria on a piece of rock? The day their ship finally pierces our atmosphere would be the ultimate moment of truth. As it descends, we would all be holding our breath, looking up and wondering, are we about to witness the second coming or the beginning of the end? Even if the aliens arrive with the most peaceful intentions, their very existence could pose a profound existential threat. Think about what underpins human civilization: our religions, our philosophies, our art. Much of it is based on our perceived specialness, our struggle to find meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe. We create gods in our own image. We tell stories about our unique purpose. We fight and die for beliefs centered on humanity's central role in the cosmic drama. What happens when a civilization arrives that is demonstrably superior in every conceivable way? What happens to our religions when we meet beings who might be ageless, who might have conquered death, who might possess knowledge that makes our sacred texts seem like children's fairy tales? What happens to our sense of purpose when we realize we are, at best, a mediocre intelligence in a crowded universe? The cultural shock could be devastating. We could face a collective loss of identity, a species-wide depression. Our greatest achievements, the pyramids, the symphonies of Mozart, the journey to the moon, could suddenly feel small and insignificant. This cultural contamination could be more destructive than any laser beam or bomb. It could dismantle our societies from the inside out, not through malice, but simply through the sheer weight of their superiority, leaving us as a hollowed-out shell of a species, a cultural footnote in their galactic annals. Could humanity survive the death of its own importance? There is another, perhaps more unsettling possibility for our place in the cosmos. What if they already know we're here? What if they've been watching us all along? This is the core of the zoo hypothesis. It suggests that advanced alien civilizations are aware of Earth and humanity, but they deliberately choose not to make contact. They observe us from a distance, treating our entire planet as a cosmic nature reserve or a sociological experiment. Our struggles, our wars, our triumphs, our art. It's all just data for them. A cosmic reality show. In this scenario, first contact wouldn't be a meeting of equals. It would be the moment the zookeepers decide to enter the enclosure. This idea is both humbling and deeply disturbing. It would mean that our free will, our entire history, might have been subtly guided or at least monitored without our consent. The prime directive from Star Trek, the idea of non-interference, might be a real galactic law, but why? Are they protecting us from themselves, knowing their presence would destroy us? Or are they protecting themselves from us, a volatile, primitive species? Or perhaps the most chilling reason of all, we are simply not yet interesting enough for them to bother with direct contact. The day they do decide to show up might be the day our experiment has either reached its conclusion or the day we've become a threat that needs to be managed. Are we living in a sanctuary, or are we just biding our time in a cage? Beyond the philosophical and technological threats lies a danger, far more primal and insidious. Biology. We have evolved over millions of years in a closed system, a delicate Terran biosphere. Our immune systems are tailored to fight Earth-based bacteria and viruses. What happens when we are exposed to an entirely alien biology? The visitors themselves, or even an unmanned probe carrying microscopic life, could unleash a plague upon humanity unlike anything we have ever witnessed. It wouldn't be an act of war, but a simple, devastating biological incompatibility. Our best medicines, our most advanced quarantine procedures, could be utterly useless against a microbe that evolved on a world with a different chemical makeup. H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds, famously ended with the invaders being felled by the common cold, but it's far more likely that the reverse would be true. We would be the ones with no defense. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the very soil beneath our feet could be contaminated. It could be a silent, invisible invasion that brings our civilization to its knees faster than any fleet of starships. And the threat is a two-way street. Our bacteria could be just as deadly to them. A handshake, a shared breath of air, could be an act of mutual extinction. The very desire to connect, to bridge the gap between worlds, could be the catalyst for our shared demise, a tragic end written in our very DNA. We have a dangerous tendency to anthropomorphize, to project our own values, emotions, and logic onto the unknown. We assume aliens will be explorers, conquerors, or benevolent teachers because that's what we understand. But what if their motives are utterly incomprehensible to us? What if they are so different that concepts like good and evil, peace and war are completely meaningless to them? A civilization that is millions of years old might operate on a timescale and with a psychology that we simply cannot grasp. They might view us with the same level of interest we have for the dust motes dancing in a sunbeam. They might harvest our oceans for a rare element without even registering that they are destroying a biosphere, just as we might clear a forest to build a highway without considering each individual insect. Their first contact could be an industrial accident, a byproduct of some vast cosmic engineering project that we are simply in the way of. We might not be conquered or saved. We might just be deleted. The greatest threat may not be malice, but cosmic indifference to a being that can manipulate space-time or harness the energy of stars. A planetary civilization might be a fleeting, insignificant phenomenon. The horror is not in being hated, but in not mattering enough to be noticed at all, until the moment our world is casually swept aside. How do you negotiate with a force of nature? So we stand at this cosmic crossroads, facing a dilemma with stakes higher than any in our history. to continue broadcasting. Our existence into the void is a gamble of unimaginable proportions. To remain silent, however, is to accept our solitude and potentially miss out on the greatest leap in our evolution. It forces us to confront the very essence of our nature. Are we explorers at heart, willing to risk everything for the chance of discovery? Or are we survivors, for whom caution is the ultimate virtue? This isn't just a question about aliens, it's a question about us. The debate over first contact holds up a mirror to humanity. It reveals our deepest hopes and our darkest fears. Our optimism about a united, enlightened future is reflected in the dream of benevolent star brothers. Our anxieties about our own violent nature, our capacity for destruction, are projected onto the image of ruthless invaders. Perhaps the real answer to whether contact would be a chance or a threat lies not in the stars, but within ourselves. The kind of reception we get from the universe might just be a reflection of the kind of species we have become. If we are met with hostility, perhaps it's because hostility is the only language a species like ours can truly understand. Before we can hope to meet the aliens, maybe we first need to truly meet ourselves. Ultimately, we may not have a choice. The signal might arrive tomorrow, or it might not come for another 10,000 years. Or perhaps the silence will remain eternal. But the act of asking the question is what truly matters. It forces us to look beyond our immediate horizons, to consider our place in the universe, and to reflect on the future we are building for ourselves. It is the ultimate test of our imagination and our wisdom. The universe is under no obligation to make sense to us, nor is it obligated to be safe. It is vast, ancient, and indifferent. Whether we find opportunity or oblivion among the stars will depend entirely on our preparation, our unity, and perhaps a great deal of luck. The story of humanity is still being written. And this next chapter, the chapter of contact, could be our most glorious or our very last. What do you think? Is the potential reward of discovery worth the existential risk? This is the kind of question we explore here on Future Tech with Oleg. If you enjoy grappling with these big ideas, help us grow and reach our first goal of 1,000 subscribers. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the dilemmas of tomorrow. And for our comment hook today, I want you to think about this very specific scenario. If you were the one person on Earth who had to make the decision whether to reply to a confirmed alien signal or to ignore it and maintain our silence forever, what would you choose? And what would be the single most important reason for your decision? I'm genuinely curious to read your detailed reasoning in the comments below. Thank you for watching and stay curious.